It's the Movie Toasty Show. Sorry, I know
No
it's
worries.
weird. It's not going to cut 100% perfectly, but
We're avant-garde here.
fair enough.
Right? Okay.
So I saw the movie the other day. It was fantastic, man. I love it. And like I went to film school and kind of work in production offices. Hopefully, make my own thing someday. But this is your first feature, right?
It's my first feature.
How's that, man? How surreal.
It was truly surreal. My short film that I had made just before this, I had made with the hope that somebody would give me like 80 grand or something to go make something. And then suddenly I woke up and I was working with some of the best producers in the world, QC Entertainment. These guys did Get Out, they did Us, they did Black Klansman. They were really at the forefront of kind of cultural horror hitting the zeitgeist in a big way. Obviously, the history of horror is filled with culture, but in the way that for a Hollywood film to be so widely accepted. So that was amazing. And then Neon, of course, who broke these massive boundaries with Parasite and their wonderful films. So in a way, it really was a dream come true. And I woke up and I was like, wait, I'm making this movie with these people. And there's a lot of pressure to that, right? To deliver. But I had absolute support the entire time. And it just felt like every day I was waking up and making more of the movie I wanted to make, you know, which is a dream.
Hell yeah. And so how did you hook up with these guys? I know you played you made a bunch of shorts and they played a lot of festivals. Did you meet people that way or?
It was through the short films. And
Nice.
it was that one specific short film, Inferno, which I had really made because I had made a lot of dramatic stuff, but I always wanted to do horror, and I felt like nobody would let me do horror. And I was like, well, what are the skills I need to really show off to get people to understand I can do this effectively?
Yeah.
And those skills really, you know, it's incredible how much of horror storytelling is great one-on-one storytelling. Setups, payoffs, suspense, you know, tension, dread, character. And so making that short was for me a real masterclass in telling visual stories, not relying on dialogue, and just really letting the action do the work. And after that, after I made that short, I got to meet a lot of people. I met some of my favorite producers. I developed a lot of movies with my favorite producers. But this movie was just an idea when I met with QC. And it was just this kind of, I want to do a curse movie. And it's going to be about an Indian American girl. And it's going to be about her dealing with her identity. And there's going to be a demon, an Indian demon. So those were the key sort of tenets that I had. And immediately they were kind of on board with that idea.
So was it just kind of like a general meeting and it just kind of spawned into
It was.
this?
And I have to tell you, I love general meetings because that's really the beginning of a creative relationship, right? Every person that you meet that you're going to work with, it's right at the beginning, you're going to know if that person works with you or not. And with Ray and Sean, it was like immediately like, oh, these guys really get it. Because I had been to meetings and even broaching this idea, it was kind of like, oh, does it have to be an Indian girl? Or alternatively, like, it was like, oh, I hate racism. And it was kind of like, well, that's not what the film is about. And talking to these guys, it was so clear that they understood what I was going for. And that's what you want out of your creative partners, is people who get it and are supportive of that, right?
And so what was it like writing the script? Because, like, it's more than just, like, a horror movie. Like, you got the mother-daughter, the falling out of friends, someone trying to fit into, like, regular culture and giving up on their own, like, ethnic backgrounds and religion, and just so much going, like, you pack so much in this, like, I don't want to say short movie, but, like, a very, like, it was nice not watching, like, a 3-hour movie being bogged down. It flies, like, just, you're going so quick, and everything's happening left and right, and you're getting these amazing performances. Like, even when they're not talking, it's nice. Like, my favorite scene was when the mother and daughter, like, they had that giant fight, and then, like, they finally just kind of look at one another and just embrace one another. Like, I love that. You got
so
amazing performances.
I'm so happy to hear this. I think knowing that it was a horror film, there's a certain pace that has to be delivered. I think as a director, I think a lot about pace. And the pace at which the audience's engagement is going to waver. I mean, what I'm always looking for when we screen the movie early on for our early audiences, test audiences, is when are people going up to go pee? Because if it's happening 45 minutes into the film, something's wrong. We have to tighten things. And so this film in particular, we were very intense about pacing throughout because we don't want to lose the audience. And I've certainly been an audience member where a film is going on and on about something, and I know that it can be done a little more simply and a little more effectively, and I'd be engaged. And so I think efficiency is huge with the process. And this being a horror film, all those elements that you were bringing up, I think the idea was, how do we make this horror feel like it's happening to real people? That's, I think, crucial. And I think it's crucial for a horror audience to feel as though they're not watching cardboard cutouts of people that they're just waiting to get killed.
Yeah.
And making these characters feel as real as possible, it was always in service of deepening the audience's emotional resonance with the horror sequences.
And it wasn't like you're just coming in meeting people. It felt like you're immersed in a world that's already been set up. The characters feel natural. And like, I love how you set up like the neighbor, the people that brought the spirit to the town that they're in, and seeing the best friend go through that, or the old best friend go through that, and then watching our main character kind of become that character that she kind of, everyone talked crap about in the beginning. It was so nice and rich. Like, was that hard crafting, or was that pretty simple for you?
It was nice to craft because there is a template, essentially, which is the Curse film, right?
Sure.
The Curse film, my favorite is Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi's
Oh, I
film.
love it.
It's an incredible one. The Ring is a great one. There are great Curse films. J-Horror was doing a lot of great Curse films. Dark Water is a great one.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a wonderful film. And the remake with Jennifer Connelly is quite good, too.
Yeah.
But the thing with it was, I mean, that genre goes all the way back to, like, Night of the Demon from 1957, right?
Yes.
And it's very robust as a character study, I think, because the whole idea is that someone transgresses and this curse is upon them. And suddenly, curse movies are cautionary tales, just as Drag Me to Hell is a great cautionary tale. And this movie, my thought was, Sam has to do something that's pretty rough, that's pretty bad, because of how far her insecurities have pushed her. And then the rest of the film, she has to investigate, she has to grow as a person, and she has to become strong enough to undo the curse. So that basic structure, I think, that has been done so well in movies like Drag Me to Hell or It Follows. It's a great curse film. That basic structure was there for me throughout the film. And I like to work within a clear structure. I get a little cagey when the film is going off on a tangent that the audience doesn't know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
They should at least understand what kind of film they're in. And this one, I think they understand they're in a curse film. But within that, there was so much freedom to let the characters be themselves, that we have this kind of rendezvous in the park with Sam and Russ, and they get to have a little date, and we're watching this really a coming-of-age movie that slowly devolves into a nightmare.
True.
Right? That was the core of the structure of the film.
Nice. And it was nice, like, learning about, like, learning a little more about Indian culture, and I researched the spirit. That's actually like it's a real creature, right? Or
it is a real
in
being.
the mythology.
Within our mythology, that is a real being, and I chose it because I knew that I wanted this movie to be about teenagers and to be a serious movie about teenagers, not something that's kind of making fun of them, but really taking their emotions seriously.
And you nailed it. Like, their mannerisms, the way they act, like, I loved it.
Thank you so much. And when I was looking at, researching different entities from our culture, because I knew it would have to be something from our culture that was affecting her, the Pishash is the living embodiment, essentially, of anger, hate, and loneliness.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that what better creature could affect a high school student? What would be, because as you're coming up with a film, part of what you're thinking about is, okay, I have this thing, a very bad thing is going to happen to someone.
Yep.
Who is the worst person this could happen to? Whose particular weaknesses are affected by this, right? And so with this one, it was, okay, I know the character. I know she's insecure. I know she doesn't feel like she belongs in either place. And so this mythological demon that really is feeding on loneliness, insecurity, it felt like just the right fit for this story.
Definitely. I want to ask and talk about so much more, but I just got the 2 minutes like a minute ago. Thank you so much for your time, and congrats on, I know you played Fantasia and South by Southwest. You guys won. That must be amazing, and congratulations. I bet you're going to win so much more. Are you guys playing more festivals? Or?
We are playing some more festivals. We're playing Citrus later this year, and a couple more to be announced. We're playing Melbourne Film Festival. it's an exciting year for this movie.
I'm excited for you and your release. I can't wait to see what you do next. I thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
everything.
much, man.
Yeah.
And I hope we can keep the conversation going at some point.
I would love to.
It's the movie Toast the Show.